Hello everyone, welcome back to Baking a Budget. So today we are going to do a basic budget in Excel. So I hope you guys are excited to see this video. Again, this is very basic. I'm definitely not a professional in Excel in any way. I've used a lot of Excel since I've graduated college, but I'm definitely in no way a professional. I do know some of the basics. I know someone mentioned in a recent video that if you double click on the lines between the columns or the rows, that it will automatically adjust. Yes, I did know that. I was actually trying to get it to fit within the screen recording box. So that's the reason I was kind of messing with that. But otherwise, yes, we are definitely going to get the basics in today. And if you guys are curious to see kind of what my personal Excel looks like, I do a budget with me every other week. So definitely check out those videos. I'll try and link one here for you to check out. But as we go through this, I'll kind of show you the basics on how to use it, and then you can kind of figure out how to apply it to you. But we'll learn the basics of our formulas and go from there. So let's go ahead and jump into our Excel over here. So we are going to kind of do some of the basics here. The biggest part of your budget is basically your income. So let's start with that and then we'll kind of go from there. So let's go ahead and just put a quick title up here just so we can, well, let's make sure we make this a little bit wider so we can see our appropriate, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to go to, let me open this a little bit more. I want to be able to read these words because I know it's easier to, there we go. All right, so we're going to go up here and we're going to go to merge and center. So we're going to go here, and that if you actually click and hold, click and drag cells together, you can actually click merge and center and it will make it one big box. So that's what we did here. We're just going to type in budget just to have something basic here. And I'm going to actually enlarge this a little bit. So if you click on there and go right up here, here's your button to make your font smaller, and here's one to make them bigger. So let's go ahead and make it a little bit bigger just to be able to read a little bit better. I'm actually going to zoom in too, just to make this a little bit easier on us. Okay. So we have our little title here. We're going to put a border around it. If you use this little this area right here, it can create lines and borders. So we're going to click here and just go to all borders, and that just puts a box around it. Perfect. All right, so we're going to make an income section here. So let's say, I'm going to put it right here. Let's say we're going to do income 1 and income 2, and we'll say side hustle. So income 1 and 2 can be your and spouse / significant other's income. And then maybe you have a side hustle. So whether you drive for Uber, you sell stuff, you flip furniture, things like that, we'll call that your side hustle money. Okay. So we're going to have the names of everything on this side, and across the top is going to be basically our timeline category type thing. So I'll explain it. We're going to do budget here. So I always like to budget for the whole month what all this is going to look like, and then I break out each paycheck. So I use the same Excel for the whole month. So we're going to say this is paycheck 1. So quick lesson here. Paycheck 1, let's say we're doing a February budget, right? So let's go down to our calendar, and our first paycheck in February is going to be Friday, February 3rd. So we're going to type in 2/3/2023. So we are working with February 3rd, right? So let's click here, and the next day is going to be the 10th. Now, instead of typing in the 10th, let's do a formula. So we're going to hit equals, okay? And then we're going to click on the day before, the date we want to use, and then we're going to add 7 days. So we're looking at February 3rd plus 7, and hit enter, and that is going to give us the 10th. That is the next Friday. And we're going to do this 2 more times, except we're going to click and drag. So it automatically copies that formula for us. So we're going to click that, and if you see right above my cursor, there's a green box at the very bottom right of this cell. We're going to actually hover over that, and you see my cursor turns into a cross type thing. We're going to click and drag across. And if you see this just means that you need your cells to be a little bit bigger so you can see them. So you go in between the rows and columns, and that line right in between the F and the G, I'm going to double click that, and it automatically sizes your cell to be able to view the entire contents of that cell. So we're going to do that here too. So if you see, it took the 10th and added 7 days, and then it took the 17th and added 24 days. So that works out perfectly. That's exactly that's the exact dates in February that we have. So we are actually going to not use this column here. So I'm going to delete it because format and all that is really, I'm a very symmetrical person. So okay, so we have what we're budgeting for the month, and then we have what is going to be each paycheck, right? So let's add a title to this section. So I clicked over here, I right clicked, which unfortunately my screen recording doesn't show, and you can actually hit insert. But let's see if we can find a better way to do that since you can't see me right clicking. So let's go up here, I'm gonna click this, and let's go to insert, and we're gonna insert, that's a line column. Again, I'm always just using the right clicks on my on my mouse, so it's super annoying that it doesn't show it in screen recordings, because I don't think a line's gonna be what we want. No. So page layout, no, it's not going to give me what I need because it inserts columns. And again, I'm not a huge Excel person. I know the very basics, but again, you use your mouse to do all this. So I'm going to use my mouse, but again, what you're going to do is you're going to click, and you're going to right click on your mouse, and you're going to hit insert. And I will try and put a screenshot here so you can see what that menu is going to look like. We're going to click insert. It is going to insert a line above the one you highlighted when you instructed it to insert. So if that makes sense, if you click on row 6 and you hit insert, it is going to put a row in above that one. Okay. And it will actually, it's confusing. It actually pulls the format from the row above it. It's really confusing, and I want to try and show you this again just so we can, I want to show you the examples. So hypothetically, let's say we're going to insert a row above 4. So it will renumber these rows, and I want a different row to be number 4, right? So you click on number 4 and you right click and hit insert. It is copying the format from above. Now, this one is a merge and center. That's why it doesn't look the way it's supposed to, but if you notice the width is thicker than down here, that's why, is because it's trying to duplicate the format that's in this row here as row 3. So I'm hoping that's not confusing. I just thought it was worth mentioning, but you can also right click and delete, which is what I'm doing. Again, you can't see that pop-up menu, but I will insert a picture so you kind of see what we're working with. So we're going to insert one right here, insert right above. So the new row 5 is going to be our title section we're going to merge and center for our income. So I just merged and centered those columns, and I'm going to put income. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger, size up our font there. Okay, and then I am very much a box person, so we're going to go right up here and just go to that all borders again. And now you can see it kind of separates everything out a little bit better. And we'll do one big one around income here in a second. So biggest thing is we want to total our income, right? We want to know how much we are budgeting in total that we are going to bring home for the month. And then we're also going to do it for each of our paychecks. Now, maybe only one person gets paid every week and one person gets paid every other week, kind of like my husband and I. So maybe just I get paid on the 3rd, and then we both will be on the 10th, and et cetera, et cetera. So, and maybe side hustle is sporadic. So that's okay. We're going to do a total amount formula. That way, no matter when you actually have money in, whenever you put it in this box, it's going to total it for you. So we put a total section right here on this line. Okay. And so hypothetically, we're going to say we're bringing home 2,000 from income 1, 1,000 from income 2, and maybe 500 from our side hustle, right? So, and something you learn about me, I definitely prefer everything in to be an accounting number since we are working with money. So we're going to highlight all those and go right up here to this money sign, and we're going to change it so it is money numbers in here. So we want to total this, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this cell right here, and we're going to hit equals. And then for math class or statistics or whatever, you'll learn that addition is the word sum, S-U-M. So we are going to use that here in Excel too. So we're going to put equals, and then we're going to type in sum, S-U-M. And that's basically the, what's it called? The call it the instruction, but the command for Excel. So you're telling it, I want you to total these numbers. And you can either pick individual numbers or you can do a range of numbers, which is what we're going to do. So type in sum, and then you're going to open your parentheses. So do your left side of the parentheses, and you notice here you can either click individual numbers like number 1 and number 2. Again, it previews this, but you can't see it. Screen recording's counted as a additional window, which is super annoying. So I might find some better software if we're going to do more of these videos so you guys can see everything. And again, I'm going to try and insert screenshots here. If you type in sum and open your parentheses, you're gonna do your range here. So we're gonna click on the 2000 box, and we're gonna click and drag down to the 500 box. So if you notice, it now says C7 through C9 is what our totals are gonna be. So column C and row 7 through row 9, right? So let's close those parentheses and hit enter. So it totaled those. So it's saying that you're going to bring home $3,500 for income. So that's perfect. We are going to do the same thing to all 4 of our paychecks. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this formula here, or this cell that has that formula in it. And we're going to go right up to that green box, just like we did before, that's in the bottom right corner of that square. And we're going to click and drag all the way across. So now it knows that if I put 200 here or 500 here, it is going to total it for each of those paychecks. So we know on the 10th, this is how much money we're going to bring in, etc., etc. So this little triangle thing comes up here whenever it thinks that there's supposed to be a value in each of those cells. It yells at us. That's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete these. And then I'm actually going to go in here and hit ignore on this error. Again, I am not a pro in Excel in any way. I just know that I don't really care about that error because this is very basic, and so I'm just going to remove it. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm actually going to put a big box around this just to make it easy and separate it out as we go through here. And I'm actually going to go ahead and let's color in that box to this coral color. That's pretty. Okay, so we have our income, and then we have each type of income and the total, right? And then as we go through each paycheck, like when the 3rd comes up on that Friday the 3rd, you're going to go in here and say, well, okay, I received $650 and my spouse received $7,000 and we sold a baby toy for $100, right? So that means that we brought in $7,750 of income this month, or this paycheck, this week, paycheck. So that's kind of what we're doing here. You can, and then you want a budget. So here you could say, here, I'll give you a basic formula. I'm going to delete these. Let's give you a basic formula, kind of like if your salary, maybe it's consistent. Every week is the same. So that's the way it is for my husband. So let's say you're a salaried employee. So we're going to go up here. I'm going to delete this number, right? And we're going to do another formula. So we're going to say equals, and we're going to say you're a salaried employee. You get paid $11.50, right? Every paycheck. So for budgets, if you say I have 4 paychecks this month, I get paid $11.50 every paycheck, no matter what, then we're going to type in $11.50, and then we're going to do the times symbol 4. So $11.50 times 4. Again, you're putting equals, so that means you're telling it to do something. So it's going to do this math equation for us. $11.50 times 4 and hit enter. It automatically says that you are budgeted to bring home $4,600 this month. And then you can do the same here. I'm an hourly employee, so I do a basic budget of what I think I'm going to make this month. So maybe I'm going to make a formula for mine. I'm going to say equals, I'm saying roughly on the low end, I'm going to bring home $500 every week, right? Times 4, because 4 paychecks this month. So if you had a 5 paycheck month, you would, instead of doing times 4, you do times 5. Okay, so this is a basic budget. This is not saying what it actually is. That is what these columns are for. These are your actuals. This is what you are budgeting for the month. Now, you can do a whole individual like tab in your Excel book on maybe just each paycheck by itself, but I feel like it gets a little messy at that point. Excuse me, I prefer to work on the same Excel for the whole month. So I have my budget, and then each Friday I come in here and type in how much I brought home that Friday, or my husband brought home, and how much income we have to work with that week for budgeting. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, you can put whatever you want in here, okay? So that's our income, all right? So we're gonna take something similar to this and use it for our expenses. So I'm gonna copy this. So what I do is I hit Control C, which is copy, or you can actually right click copy. And then I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna just skip a line, just keep it clean. And I'm gonna do Control V, which is I think I cut and paste. Let's do okay. Control C for cut. Okay. Oh my gosh. It's like I'm brand new to this or something. Let's highlight this. Let's do Control C for copy. Touch a line. I always skip a line. Just keep it neat. Control V for paste. There we go. All right. So now we're going to do something similar here, but we're going to do this for our expenses. So I'm going to add some rows here. So again, right click and hit insert. However many rows you insert is how many rows you highlight are going to be how many rows they insert. So I want them to insert 3. So I'm going to hit insert and it's going to insert 3. Okay. I'm going to do this again because I'm going to insert several. So let's insert another stack of those. There we go. Okay, so for these is going to be our expenses. Now, I separate my expenses variable versus fixed, okay? Your fixed is going to be those items that are not going to change in your budget. That's going to be your rents, maybe your car insurance, your Netflix account, things like that do not change month to month, right? Your variable are things that are based on consumption or usage. So your energy bill for your house, your gas bill for your house, if you have natural gas, your, let's see, what else could it be? Your water bill for your house, anything like that that's based on consumption, or even like your credit card payment, right? So your credit card payment is typically based on what the balance is on your card. So as you pay it down or it goes up, your payment due is going to change. So that is considered a variable expense, okay? So typically you can separate them out. I like to, but you don't have to. And for this example, we're not going to. But you would literally just copy this box once we finish it for your fixed expenses, and copy and paste it down below it and do your variable expenses if you wanted to separate them out. But for ease of use, you really don't need to. So as you see, I inserted a bunch here, and you notice they look different. And that's because, again, I inserted something. I inserted it above income line income 1. So it took the format from the row above it, which was this one here, right? So that's why it doesn't have any of the squares or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this. And again, I highlighted this whole section. And you notice that green little box is right down there. We're going to hover over it. I'm going to click and I'm going to drag up. So I'm basically telling it to copy that row all the way up. So you notice it copied all of these. It started income 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to just delete all that. I literally just wanted it to bring the format all the way up so everything looks the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to just highlight all this stuff and delete it. There we go. Okay. So for here, we're going to come up with our categories. So we're going to say rents, spell it correctly, rents, energy, water, gas, insurance, phone. Let's see. We'll start with that. Okay, so you don't have to fill in all of these. But what we're going to do is now we're going to check our formulas and make sure everything's good here. So we're going to click here, and you notice the formula is going to preview right up here. So it is equals sum, which means it is going to total or add addition. It's going to add C25 through C7. If you want to just click right here, it's actually going to show you it's only totaling these numbers right here because we copied from the row or the section above, right? So that's why we're looking at this formula. So obviously, if you put anything right here, it's not going to total it because it's not within the range that we've told it to total. So what we're going to do is, you notice this box is blue, right? And you see the little squares here on the top. We're going to hover over one of those squares here. And we are going to see that the arrow there. We're going to click and drag up. So we are now telling it to total C14 through C27, right? And just hit enter. So now if you type something right here, say $100, it's going to pop up right down here. That's exactly what we want. Even though there's nothing right here, eventually you're probably going to put a bill in there or something. So that way it just automatically puts that formula in there. It's good to have that formula go all the way down. So again, you make sure you have this whole section covered so it totals everything, no matter where you put it. If you want to add, say, animals, oh my good animals, and you want to put $5, it knows to add it because it's in that column, right? So let's delete that here. Let's delete that. Not get confusing. Okay, same thing we did above. We are going to click here and we are going to click that little green box right above my cursor and we are going to drag this way. Okay, so that is telling, again, these formulas, if I put anything in this area, I want you to total it down here at the bottom for each of those paychecks. Again, that little error message is going to come up. I just click here, and again, I'll show you a screenshot. There's an option to say ignore, because that little stuff like that will really annoy me. So I have to hit ignore. And if you notice, because we copied this cell here and drug it all the way across, these cells do not have thick side borders. So as you now see, there's not a thick line anymore. It's a thin line. Again, some of those little format things is just annoying for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that thick border back on there. So I'm going to go right up here and we're going to go to our thick outside borders option. Again, if you do this with me while you're on Excel, you're going to see these options. The pop-up menus just don't show up on screen recordings. So we put that thick border on there. Looks good. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to shrink these a little bit. Actually, they look a little large for that area. There we go. And let's go and fix these and make these match. Go down a little bit. There we go. Okay. So that is going to be your expenses. We're going to do the exact same thing and we're going to do it for your cash envelopes. Okay. So you need to prioritize what's important to you in your budget. So keeping a roof over your head, keeping the energy on and the lights on, right? And then your cash envelopes. So your groceries, your diapers for your baby, your gas for your car, those things are necessities, right? So let's put cash envelopes. So I always list my sections in order of importance. Obviously your income is most important. And then we're going to do our roof over our head and the lights on kind of section. And then we're going to do our groceries, food on the table, clothes on our back, that section, right? So cash envelopes, let's say we're talking about groceries, talking about gas for the car, baby, so that could be formula, diapers, anything like that. Let's do animals, if you have any animals that need food, cat litter, anything like that. Let's see, anything else that would go in your wallet? Maybe a miscellaneous category, maybe a dining out category. This is those things that are not sinking funds. You're not saving ahead for any of those. This is just what you need on a monthly, weekly basis, right? So again, same formula. I'm sorry, I'm going to ignore this because it's super annoying. We want a budget for groceries and all these. Okay, let's go back to that formula just so I don't forget. Let's go back here. Let's check out our formula. Perfect. It is pulling out that entire column. That's exactly what we want. Just hit enter, make sure it stays. And same thing, you can check over here and just make sure, yep, pulling the right formula. Perfect. All right, so that means anywhere in here you can type in numbers and it's going to show up right here at the bottom. We're going to ignore that error one more time. All right, so again, groceries, let's budget. We're going to budget for, this is for the month. Remember, we're looking at monthly here in this column and then you got per paycheck. So for groceries, we're going to say 400 because we're going to do 100 a week. Right? Gas, we're going to do 50, or let's do 200 for the month, 50 each week. Baby, same thing. Animals, we'll just keep it all the same. Miscellaneous, 200. Dining out, 200. Okay? So that is saying that we're going to spend $1,400 on our cash envelopes for the month, right? Rent, let's go ahead and actually fill these numbers out just so we can have some totals at the bottom. We're going to do, let's say $1,500 for rent. Energy is 150. Water's 50, gas is 50, car insurance is 200, phones are 150. So we're going to spend $2,100 in our regular expenses, which is our rent and all the basics, right? And then we were spending $1,400 on our cash envelopes for the month. So groceries, diapers, animal food, things like that, right? All right, so we're going to do another section. This is one more section here, and we are going to do our sinking funds. So again, skip a line, copy and paste our formula boxes here. And we're going to go through one more time. Cash envelopes, we're going to change to sinking funds. And over here, we're going to change it to Christmas, birthday, anniversary, spell that correctly, sorry, vacation, hair, car maintenance, anything like that that you want to save up for. Maybe Amazon Prime, because you have a Prime membership that gets charged every year, right? That kind of thing. Okay, so you see this kind of bleeds over a little bit. If you go up here and again, click in between the columns here, if you double click, you see it automatically drags that column out just a little bit so that contents fits inside there. You can also do something called wrapping text. So I'm going to show you something here. Like if I type in a bunch of stuff here and it extends longer than that cell, you can actually click on that cell and click wrap text. And it actually makes the text go down into the cell instead of out this way. So if you don't want to make your text box super long this way, you can make it longer this way. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's go ahead and get rid of that real quick. All right, so we have our totals here, right? It's saying that we're spending $1,400. Well, let's make sure that's right. Let's click on our formula here. Yep, it is totaling C50 through C63. Perfect. We are good there. All right, ignore that error once again. All right, and it is going to do the same thing for all of these again. So I have a video where I did a paycheck to paycheck budget in my planner. So if you're more of a visual person and you want to see like the whole calendar as a whole, then go check out that video. I'll link it here so you can see that. But this is kind of what I do just in a digital version. So I can do a whole video on how I actually budget using this. I just want to show you guys how to create one. So if you want to see a full in-depth on how to really use one of these to budget paycheck to paycheck or to budget if you're a month ahead, definitely let me know. I'll be happy to do a video on that. I don't want to spend too much time on that. So you're going to do the same thing for your sinking funds. So now we have all of our 3 different sections of our expenses, right? So we're going to make some totals down here. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 rows and I'm going to put a big box around it. And actually I'm going to do the all borders and then I'm going to do a thick border around it. There we go. All right, so we're going to say total income. So we don't have to scroll back and forth and see our income up here. I'm going to put it down here and I'm going to show you a quick way to do that. And then we're going to do total expenses. So we're going to total our fixed and variable expenses, our cash envelopes, and our sinking funds. And then we're going to say a total net. So total net is your income minus your expenses. Ideally, if you are in a zero-based budget, your total net will be 0. And I will show you how to do that. So total income, we're going to hit equals. And I want that cell to basically be what this is, right? So we don't have to scroll up and see our income. I want to see it down here. So I just hit equals and I want this cell to equal that cell. And so if this change, as this section changes up here, this section right here will change too. That's why we're hitting equals and not just typing in 7100. We want it to always equal this one. So then if this changes next month, you can change, it will automatically change down here. Hopefully that makes sense. So as these totals change, this will change for you automatically. That's the beauty of all this. So what we're gonna do is again, click on this and we're gonna click and drag all the way across. So it is copying all of these up here. So this and this should always look the same, okay? So for expenses, we're going to do something a little bit similar, but different. We're going to hit equals, and we are going to add these few cells together. So now we've done ranges, right? So we've hit equal sum and dragged a whole section. That's what we wanted to total, was a range of numbers. This is we're going to be adding specific numbers together. So we hit equals, and we want this to be added to this one. So we're going to click that one, and then we're going to hit the plus sign. And if you watch up here, you're going to see this formula show up, okay? So we hit plus, and then we're going to click on this one. So we want this one with the plus, this one, and then we're going to hit plus again, and we want to add this last one here. So that is your total total expenses, like fixed and variable expenses, plus your total of your cash envelopes, plus your total of your sinking funds, right? Hit enter. So that is saying that your expenses here, plus your cash envelopes, plus your sinking funds equals $4,900, okay? So again, we're going to do that across the board because we want to do that every paycheck. Every paycheck, we want to total the expenses, the sinking funds, and the cash envelopes, okay? And then total net, that means equals, again, another formula, equals income minus, so the minus sign, our expenses. So income minus expenses equals our net. So if you are, again, doing a zero-based budget, you want this to say zero. So that is saying that we have $2,200 left that we need to do something with. You don't have to spend it. Zero-based budget means that you are assigning every dollar an assignment. Doesn't mean it needs to be spent on something. That means it could be savings, it could be retirement, it could be whatever you want it to be. So maybe down here in our sinking funds, we're going to add savings. So every month we want to send $200 to savings. Perfect. Maybe we have a home renovation that we're saving for, right? So again, let's double click up here and make that a little bit wider so that renovation fits in there. And maybe we want to save $2,000 a month for renovations. Perfect. So that means it is zero left. So zero is this here, well, say it correctly. When there is zero here, that means you have a zero-based budget. You have given every dollar an assignment, you've saved a lot, and you've spent it. That's okay, as long as you know where all your money is going. So we're going to do the exact same thing. So for paycheck number 1 of February, when we get paid, we're going to say we're going to have this much income. Here's what I'm going to spend that paycheck on, and this is what I'm going to have left. And again, it needs to be zero. So let's click and drag that formula all the way across. Perfect. So if you put in, let's say $500 right here, income 2, well, that says income 1 twice, that's annoying. Let's change that to 2. All right, income 2 is $500 on the 10th. Go down here, it's showing that, oh, you have $500 in your income. You haven't spent any of it yet. You still have $500. So we need to spend that money somewhere. We're going to say maybe $500 of that paycheck's going to renovations. Now it's zero. So that's exactly what you want. So again, this is your monthly view of your budget. And then your actuals is going to be what you put in these sections here. So again, if you're curious to see how that works, go check out one of my other budget with me's. That's how I do my Excel. This looks exactly like my Excel, besides the colors maybe. So that is the basics on how to use Excel. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. There's definitely more to Excel that you can do charts and all those fun things. I don't mess with any of that. I literally just want to show the basics. Let me show you what my current one looks like. So this is what my budget looks like. I have my budget, what I forecast to spend or to bring in and spend each month. And then this is per paycheck. So this is what we actually brought in, and this is what we're paying on with that money. So this is our fixed expenses, our variable expenses, our cash envelopes, and our sinking funds. And then at the very bottom, it should say zero. So obviously it doesn't. We're still working on some of these things, and this one says we're over, that kind of thing. Again, each budget is your own, but if you're curious to see how to use this, definitely let me know, and I can maybe fill one in for you from start to finish and show you. But I hope all that makes sense. I really appreciate you guys watching. I'm sorry this video is a little bit longer. This is actually my second time filming this video because the first screen recording did not work. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Definitely let me know down below what you think, and if you use Excel or if you want to see additional videos on Excel, let me know. But I really appreciate you guys watching, and I'll check you in the next one. Bye!